Καλησπέρα σας αγαπημένοι μου φίλοι και φίλες. Καλώς σας βρήκα για μία ακόμη φορά. Εδώ βρισκόμαστε σε μία έτσι ιδιότυπη εκπομπή σήμερα. Σήμερα έχουμε έναν καλεσμένο από το εξωτερικό και μάλιστα από τη γειτονική μας Τουρκία. Έχουμε λοιπόν μία αστρολόγο με την οποία θα μιλήσουμε για το τι θα συμβεί τους επόμενους 6 μήνες, καλεσμένη του Ινστιτούτου Αστρολογίας, σε κάποια πράγματα τα οποία πιθανόν να μην καταλαβαίνετε ή να μην γνωρίζετε. Εγώ θα σας κάνω απευθείας μετάφραση. Σήμερα έχω μαζί μου την Dyugu Demir, η οποία είναι μία από τις κορυφαίες αστρολόγους στην Τουρκία, πάρα πολύ γνωστή σε εκπομπές, σε Instagram, στο Facebook, στη TV, σε 1002 πράγματα. Είναι πάρα πολύ γνωστό πρόσωπο στη γειτονική χώρα και την κάλεσα γιατί είναι ένας εκπληκτικός άνθρωπος για να μπορέσουμε να συζητήσουμε τι θα γίνει το επόμενο εξάμηνο. Dyugu, nice to meet you again.
You too. Hello. Hello, everyone. Kalispera. I just caught up a few words. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you. And I'm happy and excited to be here, actually. And thank you for your invitation.
I have a friend that says Merhaba Atinadas Selamlar. What means that?
Hello from Atina. Hi from Atina.
Okay. Yeah, I have some Greeks that live in Turkey, or they lived in Turkey and now they're in Athens, so they are also going to send you some messages. So today we are going to speak about the rest of 2023. And if I was going to ask you first from an abstract, the general influence for the next 6 months, what would be that?
Well, when I think about the last 6 months of 2023, I feel like nothing new, everything new. Because we've been going through many obstacles since pandemic, since 2020. And we're in the last few steps of those stages. So we have some things that are new for our world, for our inner small circle, and also for the mundane events as well. But most of the things are happening that we know that are caused by the influences of the virus, and then the after effects of all the economic issues and on capitalism, actually. So in the last 6 months of this year, we're going to have to deal with these results. And we all know that we're not going anywhere back to the world that we were living in before the virus. We're not going back there. We have changed quite a lot, and we're going to go on changing as well. And this change is about the evolution of the humanity, not only about our small worlds, not only about ourselves. So we have to catch up the world, and we have to adapt to the new changes, to the technology, to new lifestyles, to more individual lifestyles, more individual but more connected, like we do right now. We're all in our homes, but we're all connected. So we're not going anywhere back to the life before virus. And I feel like this, it's the feeling that we're in between, that we're going to live in the last 6 months of this year. That feeling is not nice, not comfortable, because we feel like we don't belong to the world before, and we don't know what's coming next. But we know that we have to walk through that road. So the last 6 months of this year is like, some things are new, not much, not many things are new, but we know that we have to close so many doors, shut many opportunities to adapt to the new world type of thing.
Just a second for the Greek recap. Αυτό που λέει εδώ πέρα το Dyugu είναι στην ουσία ότι το επόμενο εξάμηνο στην πραγματικότητα περιέχει πολλά καινούργια πράγματα, αλλά και τίποτα καινούριο. Σαν να βρισκόμαστε ουσιαστικά στο πλαίσιο μιας μεταβατικής περίοδου, όπου θα πρέπει να αντιμετωπίσουμε τα θέματα του ιού, της οικονομικής κρίσης, των θεμάτων του artificial intelligence, τις τεχνολογικές εξελίξεις γενικότερα που παίζουν το επόμενο χρονικό διάστημα, και ότι βρισκόμαστε ουσιαστικά σε ένα εξάμηνο όπου θα πρέπει να κλείσουμε πάρα πολλές πόρτες και θα πρέπει να ξεπεράσουμε κάποιες πολύ μεγάλες ίσως δυσκολίες, οι οποίες μας είχαν κουράσει, μας είχαν ταλαιπωρήσει ή τέλος πάντων μας είχαν οδηγήσει σε κάποια διέξοδα. Θα τη ρωτήσω βεβαίως τώρα και για τα σημαντικότερα πλανητικά γεγονότα, οπότε θα σας είμαι λίγο πιο συγκεκριμένο στο τι ακριβώς λέει. The first question, so, about what is going to happen is that the nodes are changing the sign from Taurus. The north node goes from Taurus to Aries, and of course the south node changes from Scorpio to Libra. What this is going to mean for the people?
Before that, how can you remember all those words? How can you remember all the things I said and just translate them so quickly? And
It's not a direct translation, it's the recap, it's a summary.
Okay, what about the nodes? So we know that nodes stay in an axis in certain signs for 18 months. So first of all, everything ahead, let's put everything aside. We know that we're entering in a new 18 months cycle. In this cycle, the north node is in Aries, the south node is in Libra. North node is where life says us that you're going to have to go to that direction, and south node is where we're going to face some losses and like some problems, crises, and etc. This time, north node is on Aries. Aries is the first sign. So the life basically says us that you have to develop a new individuality, a new personality, and new character to adapt to a new world type of thing. So this Aries is about fighting, survival, being in the competitious mode, and having to survive on your own self, and being powerful, initiative, and courageous. So the life says us that we're in the middle of a change, and we all know that this is scary, but still you can find courage in yourself to develop a life that is good for you and for others. This is not about a collective helping others type of developing a state, but this is more like a first be good on yourself so that you can help others type of thing. So we have to look for our own selves, our own lives, and what do we want first, and then develop a life around it. So this change will lead to in our personal lives a more selfish decisions era. So we're going to have to break up some relationships, some partnerships, and leave some negotiations behind to choose ourselves. So this is going to lead to many breaking ups in many marriages, many relationships, and we're going to end some partnerships in this time period. Peace and being nice to other people is not our first choice. We can actually stop being friends with many people or change our mindset about many people during this period. So this is one part. The other part is that when we think about the world, Aries says that you have to fight for your survival. So the countries, the world will not be hold tight and wait for the next move energy. The countries will be more like fight for what you need, fight for money, fight for your own safety. So there is going to be more heroes around the world, even individually, sportive athletes, and many more heroes, and also some political heroes in the world. Those heroes will take up the lead, especially after 2024 and after February 2024. They will take up the lead and really push the people to ask for their own rights, because we know that Aries is never afraid to ask for what he wants, what she wants. Also, Aries is about I can't remember the word for it, for about the guns and soldiers and military movements. So when we ask for our rights, we're not going to be polite and nice and sit down and like, but I need this, please give me this one. The countries will not do that. The countries will be assertive. They will support. Some countries will support military movement. Some countries will support guns and their trade, and some countries will actually support even wars, especially in around December, because there's going to be a new moon on 13th of December, in which Mars is on 13th of Sagittarius with Antares. So, and it's also reflects to the degree in which Russia and Ukraine war started. So the countries will not sit tight. Everyone will start asking for their own right and will be more.
So you
In a,
predict an escalation in the war between Russia and Ukraine.
yes, and
Okay.
especially in all the heat around the world, actually, in physically and also politically heat, and
Mhm.
also probably there's going to be a movement in NATO as well, because we all know that NATO is an areas organization. It
Mhm.
has so many areas planets. So NATO will want to have a much more assertive name in the political arena, and will try to go on with the expansion of its
Okay.
power.
Just the recap for
Mm.
the people. Εδώ λοιπόν τη ρώτησα τι θα συμβεί, παιδιά, με το βόρειο που θα πάει στον κρυό και ξεκίνησε ότι προφανώς κρατάει για 18 μήνες αυτή η θέση και πάρα πολύ σωστά το αναφέρει. Ο βόρειος δεσμός στον κρυό έχει να κάνει με οτιδήποτε καινούριο, με την ατομικότητα, με την προσωπικότητά μας, με το χαρακτήρα μας, αλλά και με την δυνατότητα επιβίωσης που μπορεί να έχει κάποιος. Στο κομμάτι επίσης το ανταγωνιστικό, στο να μπορέσουμε να επιβιώσουμε, στο να έχουμε κουράγιο και δύναμη για να μπορέσουμε να παλέψουμε, αλλά και να μπορέσουμε να πετύσουμε από τους άλλους. Επειδή ακριβώς ο νότιος δεσμός θα βρίσκεται στο ζυγό, σημαίνει ότι θα έχουμε αρκετές κρίσεις στο γάμο, προβλήματα στις διαπροσωπικές σχέσεις, τέλος συνεργασιών, προβλήματα με θέματα που σχετίζονται με την ειρήνη, όπως επίσης και αρκετές δυσκολίες σε οτιδήποτε έχει να κάνει με την ασφάλεια των οικονομικών μας. Ταυτόχρονα, αυτό που δίνει πάρα πολύ έντονο είναι ότι αναφέρει ότι οι μοίρες που πρόκειται να ενεργοποιηθούν στο τέλος του χρόνου θα οδηγήσουν σε μια σημαντική κρίση περαιτέρω στη ρωσο-ουκρανική σύραξη την οποία έχουμε, ενώ ταυτόχρονα, επειδή το ΝΑΤΟ αυτή τη στιγμή έχει πάρα πολλούς πλανήτες μάλλον στον κρυό, προβλέπεται να έχουμε μια μεγαλύτερη τάση του ΝΑΤΟ να θέλει να επεκταθεί και να δημιουργήσει περαιτέρω προβλήματα για να μπορέσει να επιτύχει τους στόχους του. So, after that, and thank you very much for this answer, my next question is about Venus going retrograde and what this going to mean for the people.
Can we talk about Pluto as well before the Venus, or just
Pluto?
Pluto squaring nodes? Can I
Yes,
ask?
of course. Yeah, right. So let's start first with Pluto square the nodes.
Okay, because when I was answering your question, I just thought that I forgot to mention that when Pluto is at the last degrees of Capricorn right now, and it will be there until 20th of January. Then it's going to have a little, short entrance in Capricorn at the end of 2024, but the first part is much more important. Well, I feel like when Pluto is at the end of some degrees of a sign, it gives much more fear and pressure onto the people, because when Pluto is at the last degrees of a sign, it means like it's going to end its cycle, and it's not going to do it in a nice way, because Pluto is a harsh planet. So it's going to push us to replace every old pattern that we've been trying to keep up. And when it comes to Capricorn, it means that it's about economic cycles. It's about banks and their regulations, and we live that in Turkey quite a lot right now, and all those governmental issues, military issues again, or when the country wise, it's UK, a Capricorn country, and it's USA's monetary issues. It's going through its Pluto cycle right now. So until the end of January in 2024, we have to keep our investments and our resources as much as tight as possible, because we have to hold on to our own resources, because the world will be not stable. Some companies will unfortunately shut down. Some banks will be in a very tight position monetary wise. Many countries will go through this position. And for example, what we live in Turkey is that there are always some increase in the VATs. Interesting rising in the prices of so many things. So we have
Did
to
you
hold.
find when this is going to end up, when this rise of the prices in Turkey is going to end up?
Not soon, I guess, because that eclipse on 5th of May, it was in Scorpio, and it was against our Jupiter. And right now, Uranus is against our Jupiter, and it will go back and forth until the end of May in 2024. So it's not going to be stable in Turkey for quite a lot of time. And in the close run, we're going to have a Mercury retrograde also in Capricorn, with these last degrees of Pluto. So I think we're going to have a really harsh December and January this year. So and maybe we'll see some deaths about the big leaders and etc. as well. So it's going to change the facade of the world quite a lot. It is good that we should know that we have to, be prepared for everything for the next 6 months, and it's not going to last more than that. When it comes to February 2024, it's going to be a new world, a new life, and we're going to feel a little more relieved. So if we feel that nothing is going to change and we're going to be in this dark mood, it's not going to be like that. But still, we have to hold your nose and dive down, and then it's going to be good in the end.
Perfect. Just a recap, συζητήσαμε για τον Πλούτονα που κάνει τετράγωνο με το βόρειο δεσμό. Αυτό επειδή ακριβώς θα συμβεί στις τελευταίες μοίρες και ο Πλούτονας αυτή τη στιγμή βρίσκεται στην 29η μοίρα του εγώκερο, οπότε είμαστε στις τελευταίες μοίρες ενός ζωδίου. Αυτό δηλώνει ότι ο Πλούτονας κλείνει τον κύκλο του και έτσι θα οδηγήσει σε μεγαλύτερη πίεση και ένταση. Ιδιαίτερα σε χώρες όπως το Ηνωμένο Βασίλειο και οι Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες της Αμερικής προβλέπεται να αντιμετωπίσουν πολύ περισσότερα προβλήματα και δυσκολίες επί των οικονομικών τους θεμάτων και γενικότερα μέχρι το τέλος του Ιανουαρίου του 2024 θα πρέπει να προσπαθήσουμε να συντηρήσουμε τα υλικά μας αγαθά και να κρατήσουμε αυτά τα οποία μας ανήκουν, έτσι ώστε να μην υπάρχουν προβλήματα, γιατί υπάρχουν κίνδυνοι απώλειας χρημάτων. Οπότε μέχρι Φλεβάρι λέει η Dyugu ότι πρέπει να είμαστε πάρα πολύ μαζεμένοι επί των οικονομικών μας θεμάτων και να μην κάνουμε κάποια βεβαιασμένη επένδυση ή οποιαδήποτε άλλη οικονομική κίνηση. Έτσι λοιπόν φαίνεται ότι προβλέπεται να βρεθούμε σε μια κατάσταση αστάθειας επί των οικονομικών θεμάτων, ενώ αρκετές εταιρείες και επιχειρήσεις πρόκειται να κλείσουν. Είδαμε και λίγο τα θέματα με την Τουρκία, επειδή ακριβώς και η έκλειψη και ο Ερμής Ανάδρομος στον εγώκερο θα επηρεάσει τη χώρα αυτή τη στιγμή το δία της. Προβλέπεται οικονομική αστάθεια και άνοδο των τιμών στην Τουρκία τουλάχιστον μέχρι του χρόνου, την Άνοιξη. Και οι πιο δύσκολοι μήνες θεωρείται ότι είναι ο Δεκέμβριος του 2023, Ιανουάριος του 2024, όπου αυτό θα οδηγήσει σε νέους ηγέτες και σε νέες λύσεις από την Άνοιξη του 2024 και μετά. Okay, let's go then to the next chapter, which is about the Venus retrograde. Right now is on Leo. What is going to bring to the people? What is going to bring to the states, to the matters of the...
Yeah, her name is Venus. When you said Venus retrograde, she just started moving.
So it was her time.
First of all, I think that retrogrades are always difficult. Yes, I know that, but they bring so much insight about our lives, about what we want, about what we like. I really appreciate retrograde time periods because it shows us the imperfections on what we think that were just flawless. So it's good to see those things, and then so we can, revise what we need to revise. This retrograde is this is an interesting one because it's in Leo. Leo is about all the rulers and all the leaders, and also it's about money and it's about gold, especially. So it's about our investments as well. So there's one leadership aspect, and the other one is also our monetary aspect. Of course, Venus is about women, so it may be about famous women that are, singers and actors and actresses as well. Also, women leaders at the same time. Also, Venus is about our love lives, our relationships, and also our appearance and our personal image. So, and the Venus retrograde starts at 28th degree of Leo, so it's going to start with Regulus effect. So it's going to put much more emphasis on famous and important people that lead our lives, not only their decisions not affect only their own lives, but our own lives as well. So this retrograde will show us some magazinal issues, well, of course, some love crisis of all those famous people, and that some relationships will end. We're going to uh, see some crisis and some like people having melting breakdowns and etc. in the famous people arena. That's one thing. The other thing is that usually what I see in the Venus retrograde time period is that somehow we don't want to spend our money on many things because we're afraid that we're going to lose our sense of the things that we have, our money. So many people will try to keep their money, and the circulation of the economic issues will, decrease. That's one thing. The other thing is that the gold, the price of gold has been rising in a certain way. It's going to probably normalize a little and then keep up. Well, we're facing it in a much more radical way in Turkey because dollar keeps up as well, but in a mundane way. The other thing is that we're going to have to deal with our um, issues about our own worth. We're going to start feeling that I don't want this relationship because blah blah blah, because I don't want to feel this, feel that you're not giving me enough time, value, and blah blah blah, whatever it is. And we're going to have to face with our own ex girlfriends and boyfriends. Probably some exes will come up and we're going to face with them. Maybe you can sort it out. It's not really advised in doing that in a retrograde area, but maybe you can sort it out. And well, I think one of the most important things is that well, it's in Leo, so it's about being a star by our own power, being in the center of our own world. So we're going to step down and we're going to think that if I want to be a queen or if I want to be a king in my own life, what do I need to do? How am I perceived by others? Because being a Leo means that you know that you're on a you're up and above others, and the others see you and they want to inspire from you. So are you an inspirational character? Are you loving your own life? Are you happy with your own sense of being? Are you happy with your appearance? We're going to face some issues around that, and we have to face them. And some companies will do that as well. Some of them will change their branding, their logos, and etc. And pricing even. Are you happy with the prices you give to your own services and etc. And this will I think this is a nice way to find out your own place in the world and then make revises around it so that you can go forward. But after this, well, almost at the end of this Venus retrograde, we're going to have another retrograde, Mercury retrograde. So I think the effects will be last around 15th of September, so that we can make sense of everything. And then after 15th of September until 10th of October, almost a month period, it's a nice time period because Venus will be in Leo, Mars will be in Libra, and they're going to do sextile so that we can we can move forward with the new direction of our lives with the help of others.
Mhm.
Teamwork will be very important. So just don't try to do everything by yourself. And because a king and queen never does everything by herself, by himself, she needs some servants or at least some teamwork, co-workers. So we're going to develop a sense of new being. We're going to end some relationships, make some revisions around it. We have to put some money aside. Please don't spend money on luxury and etc. just to move forward, because it's not going to be a nice move at this time period. And then after 15th of September, you're going to have many collaborations as possible.
Thank you. Okay, πάμε λοιπόν να δούμε λοιπόν εδώ πέρα. Προφανώς υπάρχουν κάποιες δυσκολίες λόγω του ότι η Αφροδίτη είναι ανάδρομη και πάντα ένας πλανήτης όταν είναι ανάδρομος μπορεί να προκαλέσει κάποια προβλήματα. Έχει να κάνει με κυβερνήτες, με χρήματα, έχει να κάνει με επενδύσεις, με το χρυσό, με ηγέτες. Αυτή η Αφροδίτη ανάδρομη θα προκαλέσει σημαντικές αλλαγές σε γυναίκες που είναι διάσημες ή γνωστές ή ηγέτιδες. Ταυτόχρονα βεβαίως η συγκεκριμένη, επειδή θα γίνει στο ζώδιο του ζυγού και είναι και Αφροδίτη, έχει επηρεάσει τις σχέσεις μας αλλά και την εμφάνισή μας σε έναν βαθμό. Έτσι λοιπόν μπορεί να αντιμετωπίσουμε θέματα σκανδάλων στην ερωτική ζωή με περιοδικά, ή μπορεί να υπάρχουν προβλήματα με την προσωπική ζωή διασύμων ανθρώπων, ή κρίσεις και τέλη σχέσεων, διακοπές σχέσεων, νευρικές καταρρεύσεις, ή προβλήματα με την αίσθηση των χρημάτων. Πώς επίσης κρατάμε τα χρήματά μας. Θα δούμε ότι η τιμή του χρυσού προβλέπεται να πέσει. Έτσι λοιπόν αυτό θέλει να είμαστε λίγο πιο προσεκτικοί. Ίσως να αρχίσουμε να σκεφτόμαστε ότι δεν θέλω την τωρινή σχέση που έχω και πρέπει να την επαναπροσδιορίσω, ή θα αρχίσουμε μετέπειτα να σκεφτόμαστε θέματα επανασυνδέσεων και με τους πρώην μας, ή πιθανόν να πρέπει να σκεφτούμε πράγματα που έχουν να κάνουν με το να είμαστε, πώς μπορούμε να είμαστε star, πώς μπορούμε να είμαστε γνωστοί, πώς μπορούμε να επιτύχουμε, πώς μπορούμε να αναγνωριστούμε. Ίσως πρέπει να αλλάξουμε τρόπο με τον οποίο βλέπουμε τον εαυτό μας, πώς εμπνέουμε τους άλλους, πιστεύουμε σε αυτό που είμαστε. Ίσως να πρέπει να αλλάξουμε το logo μας ή να πρέπει να αλλάξουμε γενικότερα το branding μιας εταιρείας, ή πιθανόν να πρέπει να υπάρχουν σημαντικές αλλαγές οι οποίες έχουν να κάνουν με τις τιμές μας. Ίσως να πρέπει να γίνει μια επαναπροσδιορίση τιμών. Πάρα πολύ σημαντικό επίσης το κομμάτι στο πώς γενικότερα χρησιμοποιούμε τα χρήματά μας, να μην ξοδέψουμε χρήματα αυτή την περίοδο, και η καλύτερη περίοδος θεωρεί του ότι είναι μεταξύ 15 Σεπτέμβρη και 10 Οκτώβρη, καθότι το επόμενο χρονικό διάστημα εκεί ο Άρης θα είναι στο Ζυγό, η Αφροδίτη θα είναι στο Λιοντάρι, θα κάνουν ένα εξάγωνο και αυτό θα είναι πάρα πολύ θετικό. Two comments. The first comment is that you look like a goddess. Public. And the next is a question: what happens when someone is born with retrograde Venus?
It's a nice time of it's a nice time to gain your power back, actually, and remember how good you are and feel more loved and appreciated, and even to start relationships, showing your love towards someone and affection towards someone. And this is a time for you to have many opportunities. It's a nice time period.
Η Dyugu Μαρία λέει ότι είναι ένα πάρα πολύ καλό κομμάτι αυτό, γιατί βοηθάει στο να μπορέσεις να κερδίσεις ξανά το χαμένο έδαφος, να μπορέσεις να επιτύχεις τους στόχους σου, να μπορέσεις να κάνεις πράγματα τα οποία θέλεις και γενικά να νιώθεις επιτέλους κερδισμένη από την τύχη. So let's go to the next two eclipses. I'm going to ask you first about the eclipse that happens on the 14th of October 2023. This is a solar eclipse. It happens in the 22nd of Libra. What do you believe is going to happen? What is the main message of this eclipse?
Well, it's the first Libra eclipse of this axis. Well, it has nice aspects and also bad aspects at the same time. First of all, it's going to be on the southern side. So whatever we do, we're going to have to deal with some obstacles afterwards. That's one thing, because South Node always brings something with it, some issue to deal with it. Libra is about starting relationships, beginning a new relationship, having a new partnership, maybe bringing peace to an unresolved issue. So we're going to be settling down and trying to find a new way to live together. That's a nice aspect, that in that time, in that aspect anyways. But with the southern node and with Chiron just opposite to it, probably we're going to have to deal with some selfish problems, some not understanding each other throughout the time period, trying to end some attitudes in a relationship. And the most important thing is that I feel like this is going to bring some peace to us after all those problematic areas in our world. But still we're going to, try to end some relationships and try to find a new way. But the most important thing is that it is making a square to Pluto in with six degrees orb, I guess. So I feel like it's going to bring a little problem, a catastrophic problem, I think, at the end of December, at the beginning of January, to the relationship that we started. So whatever we do, even it's a new business, it's a new relationship, whatever it is, we have to know that after 4 months of time, 3 4 months of time, we're going to have a really big crisis, and that we have to overcome. We can overcome that, but while we do that, we're going to change the shape of the relationship, or change the shape of the project that we started, and then we're going to move. So I think it's also it is connected to this north node squaring Pluto this time period from 17th till 24th of July. So even if we start right now, or thinking about starting right now, we have to know that it has some revisions around it at the end of this year. We're going to talk about what happened, and we're going to bring up old memories once again at the end of this year. So it seems not like a not bad type of eclipse, but still it's going to bring some problems, especially about power struggles. I feel like power struggles. And the
Okay.
Venus is in also Virgo, so it says that you have to be modest in whatever you do. If you try to be the first and the best and blah blah blah, it's not the time to do that. Be modest. Start work really hard, even if it's in a relationship. Just don't try to have all the power. Just see whatever is going on in the other person's life, in what's going in your life, and stay calm for the next 4 or 5 months. Then you can say that I've done it.
Okay. The recap. So, έτσι λοιπόν αναφέρει ότι αυτή η έκλειψη είναι έκλειψη νοτιού δεσμού. Αυτό δηλώνει ότι έχει να κάνει με πράγματα τα οποία πρέπει να διαχειριστούμε. Προφανώς, επειδή είναι μια έκλειψη στο Ζυγό, θεωρεί ότι δεν είναι πάρα πολύ κακή, ότι έχει κάποια θετικά στοιχεία. Μια μέτρια έκλειψη με κάποια αρνητικά στοιχεία, μάλλον καλύτερα αυτό αναφέρει. Έχει να κάνει με θέματα σχέσεων, έχει να κάνει με θέματα συνεργασιών, με το να μπορέσουμε να βρούμε την ειρήνη μέσα μας, να μπορέσουμε να χαλαρώσουμε. Αναφέρει βεβαίως ότι η αντίθεση μαζί με τον Χείρονα μπορεί να φέρει θέματα εγωισμού, όπως επίσης προβλήματα σε σχέσεις με θέματα ενσυναίσθησης, και ίσως θα πρέπει να προσέξουμε λίγο περισσότερο τη συμπεριφορά μας επί των διαπροσωπικών επαφών μας. Το τετράγωνο που θα δημιουργηθεί με τον Πλούτονα θεωρείται ότι θα προσφέρει κάποιες κρίσεις οι οποίες θα εμφανιστούν κατά το τέλος του 2023, αρχές 2024. Εκεί μπορεί να υπάρχουν κρίσεις στις διαπροσωπικές σχέσεις και στην επιχειρηματικότητα, και γενικότερα να πρέπει να υπάρξει μια αλλαγή δομής. Επίσης, εδώ αναφέρει ότι μπορεί να υπάρχουν παιχνίδια εξουσίας και παιχνίδια δύναμης, και γενικά με αυτή την έκλειψη πρέπει να είμαστε εγκρατείς και ταπεινοί για να μπορέσουμε να διαχειριστούμε τις όποιες δυσκολίες. Και θεωρεί ξανά ότι θεωρείται μια έκλειψη μέτρια, αλλά ταυτόχρονα ίσως και μια έκλειψη η οποία μπορεί να έχει κάποιες δυσκολίες, κάποια αγκαθάκια, που αν όμως είμαστε ταπεινοί και προσαρμόσιμοι θα μπορέσουμε να τα ξεπεράσουμε. And let's go to the last eclipse, which happens in the 28th of October 2023 on the 6th degree of Taurus. What do you believe this eclipse has as a main message?
I like this one. I mean, this is like a trophy after the 2 years of struggle for all those Scorpio and Taurus and Aquarius and Leo people. So it's more like you can you can relieve right now type of eclipse. Well, I think in order to benefit more from that eclipse, right now we have to still work hard and make investments, logical investments in whatever we do. It doesn't have to be monetary investment, but still, if we try to if we try to have practical results in whatever we do right now, we're going to have a much more sense of success at the end of 28th of October. And it will also lead to another success story at the end of January, and then in April and May in 2024. So because it is with Jupiter, and Jupiter will be retro at that time period, at the eclipse time period, but right now it's almost at the same degrees. So right now, if we try to put our effort and work in practical results, we're going to have a really nice benefit or trophy at the end. I like this one.
Θεωρεί λοιπόν ότι είναι μια πολύ καλή έκλειψη. Θεωρεί ότι σε ένα λογικό πλαίσιο είναι πάρα πολύ καλή για να μπορέσουμε να κάνουμε τις επενδύσεις μας και να μπορέσουμε να φέρουμε πρακτικά αποτελέσματα επιτέλους στη ζωή μας. Θα μπορέσει να βοηθήσει να φέρει κάποιες επιτυχίες μάλιστα, ιδιαίτερα κατά τον Οκτώβριο του 2023 θα φέρει κάποιες δυνατότητες εξέλιξης οι οποίες θα μπορέσουν να προχωρήσουν μετέπειτα και τον Φεβρουάριο του 2024 και μάλιστα εκεί θα έχουμε και τον Δία περίπου στις ίδιες μοίρες που είναι και τώρα, που σημαίνει ότι μέσα από προσπάθεια και μέσα από σταδιακή δουλειά και σωστό πλάνο μπορεί ο κόσμος που επηρεάζεται να μπορέσει να τη χρησιμοποιήσει και να μπορέσει να επιτύχει κάτι πολύ σημαντικό σε θέματα επενδύσεων και οικονομικών θεμάτων. Όπως επίσης ανέφερε ότι είναι και μια έκλειψη η οποία ξεκουράζει λίγο τους παρομητικούς κυρίους καρκίνους, ζυγούς και γόκερους. And I'm going to ask you about the big one, which of course happens in the beginning of the next year, but it is already happening and we are part of this change. Is of something of great and fundamental change, and is about Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius. How you look at this change? What you believe is the most important thing?
Well, I am excited. I am optimistic. Mostly, I know that Pluto can bring some really drastic results, but most of the time I'm optimistic about this change. First of all, if you want to think about what's going to happen, let's just go back a few months earlier and try to remember how was life in April, in some periods of May as well, because May was very drastic with all those retrogrades and Scorpion eclipse, but still April was nice in that sense. It was more about freedom and more being relieved, and there were many technological new innovations. There was this flying motorcycle invented in Japan and etc. So there were many fantastic movements as well. When it comes to Turkey, as a country, we felt much more connection on, because it was the election time. We felt much more connection through networks and social media, and some people were asking for their own political rights and human rights in a much more drastic and powerful way. So if we go to 2024, it's going to end. It's going to go until 2044. So it's going to be for a 20 years period. It's a long time period. We lived through this process almost 250 years ago. So we've never seen it before as our own. Nobody alive, at least as a human, nobody alive has lived through it before. And it was a really time of, as you said, fundamental changes, not only in our own worlds, but the whole humanitarian evolution type of changes. Because there was this industrial movement, industrial revolution. There was this French Revolution. There were many new books and books about rational thinking, for example, by Kant. If we go to the earlier versions of this transit, we see Machiavelli and his book Prince. So there are many big ideas and theories about how to move humans ahead. So it's a really mind-opening era. That's one thing. The other thing is that there's going to be a lot of change about the data and technology and how we use them, our own IDs, digital IDs, and how we are connected to each other, how we live our lives individually, and how we're connected. Because if you think about industrial change, it seems like the way we produce clothes just changed, but it's not like that. It changed the atmosphere because we started releasing the gases by fabric factories to the sky. So the climate will change in a drastic way. It also changed the industrial revolution, changed the way we lived because before that we were producing our own clothes, our own food. Everything was just changing between us in a small circle. But when the mass production started, we started living in a more modern and then postmodern world. So this will change. I don't know what we're going to call it, but we're going to be much more connected in not only products way, but also in a mind changing way. So it's a nice and hopeful era, I guess. And we're going to be in a much more connected. We're going to be much more connected with the aliens, I think.
Okay. So, the recap. Σύμφωνα λοιπόν με την Ντούικου, εδώ πέρα προβλέπεται να έχουμε μια περίοδο μεγάλων τεχνολογικών εξελίξεων με τον πλούτονα που μπαίνει στο ζώδιο του υδροχόου. Θεωρείται ότι είναι μια περίοδος τεραστίων αλλαγών σε θέματα επιστήμης και τεχνολογίας, και στην Τουρκία έχουν δει πάρα πολλές αλλαγές σε θέματα που έχουν να κάνουν με τη συνδεσιμότητα μεταξύ των ανθρώπων και στον κόσμο που παλεύει με πολύ πιο έντονο τρόπο για τα ανθρώπινά του δικαιώματα. Θεωρεί ότι είναι μια περίοδος η οποία θα ξεκινήσει πάρα πολύ το κομμάτι της δικτύωσης και των social media, ενώ ταυτόχρονα θα δούμε ανθρώπους οι οποίοι θα προσπαθήσουν να αγωνιστούν περισσότερο για τα πολιτικά τους δικαιώματα. Θεωρείται γενικότερα μια περίοδος τεραστίων αλλαγών. Τα προηγούμενη φορά που είχαμε τον πλούτονα στον υδροχόο, είχαμε σταδιακά την ανάπτυξη της βιομηχανικής επανάστασης. Είδαμε πολλούς σημαντικούς ανθρώπους να αλλάζουν και να προσφέρουν κάτι καινούργιο στον τρόπο σκέψης μας, όπως για παράδειγμα ο Εμμάνουελ Καντ, ή είδαμε ακόμη πιο πριν τον Μακιαβέλη, ο οποίος και αυτός μέσω από τα βιβλία του ήταν ιδιαίτερα προκλητικός για την εποχή του, για τις ιδέες του. Προβλέπει γενικότερα μία περίοδο η οποία θα έχει τεράστιες αλλαγές στον τρόπο με τον οποίο σκεφτόμαστε, αλλά και στον τρόπο τον οποίο ζούμε. Όπως ακριβώς η επανάσταση τότε η βιομηχανική άλλαξε ακόμη και την ατμόσφαιρά μας και άλλαξε τον τρόπο σκέψης μας και τον τρόπο με τον οποίο κινούμαστε μέσα στον κόσμο, με τον ίδιο ακριβώς τρόπο η θέση αυτή του πλούτονα στον υδροχόο για τα επόμενα περίπου 20 χρόνια προβλέπεται να φέρει τεράστιες αλλαγές και επιτυχίες, και βέβαια προβλέπεται να είναι για το καλό, καθότι θεωρεί ότι είναι μια περίοδος ελπίδας. So now the next thing, in the previous show that I was the guest, we said that if something happens to Athens, I will come to you, and if something happens to Istanbul, you will come to me. So how you believe things are going to flow for Greece and Turkey in the next years?
Well, for our own relationships, I feel like we're going to have some conflicts and then make up, conflicts and then make up. But for both of us, Greece, the moon of Greece is in Gemini, and also the moon of Turkey is in Gemini. So Saturn is in Pisces. So we're going to face that some sort of emotional, by the way, the moon means the people of the country. I didn't mention that, sorry. So the people of the country will, and Saturn means some kind of regulations and then rules and then decreasing the area of freedom kind of energy. So in the next 2.5 years, whatever happens, sometimes the Greece people, sometimes the Turkish people will go through this, going to, having a moral breakdown, and then breaking up, then getting better type of period. So we have to be more, we're going to have to be more patient for two more years. The September 2024 will be very interesting. I think we're going to have to be more careful about our own relationships as two countries after that eclipse for a year at least, because at least for Turkey, it's the third house of our own natal chart. So third house is our very close neighbors. So we may have a bigger conflict in 2020, in the later 2024s. I hope not.
We will have a live in that time, a YouTube live. So I'm going to recap again. Σύμφωνα με την Dyugu, προφανώς και οι δύο χώρες προβλέπεται ανάμεσά τους να έχουν προβλήματα, συγκρούσεις, προβλήματα συγκρούσεις και ούτω καθεξής. Έχουμε κάνει μια πλάκα όταν με είχε καλέσει τη δικιά της εκπομπή πριν περίπου λίγο καιρό. Είχαμε κάνει τη συμφωνία ότι αν κάτι συμβεί στην Αθήνα, εγώ θα πάω Κωνσταντινούπολη, και αν συμβεί κάτι Κωνσταντινούπολη, θα έρθει αυτή στην Αθήνα. Αλλά πέρα από αυτή την πλάκα, αναφέρει ότι θα υπάρχουν κάποιες κρίσεις ανάμεσα στους ανθρώπους και ανάμεσα στις χώρες, όπου όμως θα μπορέσουμε να τις διαχειριστούμε, και οι δύο λαοί, επειδή έχουν τη σελήνη τους στους διδύμους, προβλέπεται να περάσουν δύσκολα με τον χρόνο στον νυχθή και πρόκειται να έχουμε πίεση, προβλήματα, συναισθηματικές κρίσεις, περιορισμούς, πολλούς κανόνες, και γενικότερα και οι δύο λαοί, και ο ελληνικός και ο τουρκικός, θα βρεθούν σε μια ιδιαίτερη ένταση, και δίνει πολύ μεγάλο ενδιαφέρον στην έκλειψη που γίνεται το Σεπτέμβριο του 2024, καθότι εκεί μπορεί να έχουμε πολύ πιο αυξημένες πιθανότητες κάποια σύγκρουσης ή κάποια έντασης ανάμεσα στις δύο χώρες. They ask me your sun sign. I remember you are a Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
Όπως τα πάντα στη ζωή μου, έτσι και η αγαπημένη μου Dyugu είναι Σκορπιός. Everyone in my life is Scorpio. Everyone. My close friends, my close partners, everything in my life is Scorpio. So, yeah.
And my seventh house is Gemini.
So you're a Sagittarius ascendant.
Yes. So that's why I feel very close to you. By the way, I'm going to ask you a question. I have two charts of Greece. Which one shall I use? In one of them, the moon is in Virgo. In the other one, it's in moon in Gemini. Which one do you use?
I use a combination of the independence in the 8030, but also I use a lot the natal chart of the Third Hellenic Republic in the 1974. But there are also some people that they use the chart of the proclamation of independence during the independence war in the 8020s.
Has moon in Virgo.
Okay. So those are the three main charts, but I use mostly the 8030 and then the 1974. But also the proclamation of independence is very useful. So I think if you want to look better what happens, you have to look all three. Why? Because the proclamation of independence is the will of the people, but Greece didn't go independent just by will. We were helped by the great powers in the 8030 with the Protocol of London. And then we have the Third Hellenic Republic in the 1974, which played a very important role in, for example, in the financial crisis in 2010. We had the chart in 1974 was really screaming right now. So it's like, for me, you have to look three of them, but especially 1974 works right now really well with what happens, especially with our elections and all that stuff. And you use the one of 1924.
Yes, I was
with the
looking
Turkish Republic.
Yes.
We don't have a chart of the foundation of the Ottoman Empire. There is
No,
no
no,
chart like
there's no
that.
chart for Ottoman. But sometimes I look at Istanbul's chart because we always talk about the big earthquake that's going to happen in Istanbul and etc.
Mhm.
I always use the chart that when Constantine found
The
Constantine
foundation chart of
foundation
okay.
of
And
Rome.
is
In
the chart of the conquest is it working at all?
not that much. The other one is the Constantine's chart works really well.
Okay.
Mm.
Let me translate them.
Mm.
Okay. Λοιπόν, είναι Σκορπιός και λέω ότι οι Σκορπιοί λοιπόν είναι παντού στη ζωή μου και προφανώς και ένας άνθρωπος που αγαπάω τόσο πολύ και συνεργαζόμαστε θα ήταν και αυτός Σκορπιός. Μετέπειτα μου ερώτησε ποιο χάρτη χρησιμοποιώ. Υπάρχει ο χάρτης της ανεξαρτησίας που κάναμε, το proclamation που λέμε, που θέλαμε εμείς να γίνουμε ανεξάρτητοι, ο χάρτης μετέπειτα το 1830 και ο χάρτης του 1974. Και εγώ είπα ότι χρησιμοποιώ περισσότερο το 1830 και 1974, αλλά και ο άλλος χάρτης λειτουργεί πάρα πολύ καλά. Και μετέπειτα τη ρώτησα αν χρησιμοποιεί ποιον χάρτη για την Τουρκία και χρησιμοποιεί τον χάρτη του 1924 με το ξεκίνημα της τουρκικής δημοκρατίας. Και μετέπειτα μου είπε ότι λειτουργεί πάρα πολύ καλά για την Κωνσταντινούπολη, ο χάρτης θεμελίωσης της Κωνσταντινούπολης επί Μέγα Κωνσταντίνου. Και μετέπειτα τη ρώτησα αν λειτουργεί καθόλου ο χάρτης που έχει να κάνει όταν ο Μοχάμετ ο δεύτερος κατέκτησε την Κωνσταντινούπολη, αν αυτός ο χάρτης παίζει καθόλου ρόλο στην πρόβλεψη. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your invitation.
It was a very interesting conversation.
I hope it helped you in somehow to our listeners as well.
Yeah, for me it was a really great conversation, and we will do it much sooner. Probably in autumn I will ask you again because the people here really loved it.
Thank you. I love being here. I'm happy to come over once again whenever you want, and I also will ask you to come to my own YouTube channel as well.
And if someone, do you do any English or just Turkish?
Mostly Turkish, I'm sorry.
Mostly Turkish, but no matter what, let me tell that in Greek, να πάτε να κάνετε εγγραφή στην κοπέλα. Το channel, how is your channel? The name of your channel?
It's my name.
Okay. Δεν χρειάζεται να μην καταλαβαίνετε Χριστό από το τι λέει, να πάτε να πατήσετε, να κάνετε subscribe to Dyugu Demir. I told them that even they don't understand the thing of what she says, go and make a subscribe. Okay. Thank you very much. It was a really pleasant hour.
You too.
Bye bye. See ya.